Hello, everyone. My name's Cecilia, and I've got quite the tale to share about my mother-in-law, Rhonda. You know, I've been married to Nick for some time now. We met back in college, and ever since we've been pretty much inseparable. I officially became a part of the Cooper family at the age of 25, and I have to say, they welcomed me with open arms. From the beginning, my relationship with my in-laws was surprisingly good. We spent quality time together and celebrated holidays, and life was generally smooth sailing. Nick and I were in a solid place, both in terms of our careers and our relationship. So we thought, why not take the next step and start a family? Rhonda, my mother-in-law, was all over the idea of becoming a grandma. You know how it goes with parents. They're excited about grandkids. She would drop hints like 100 times about when she'd be able to spoil her grandkids. We kind of laughed it off, but eventually we figured, why not? And decided to give it a shot. Unfortunately, month after month, things just weren't working out. We got pretty worried and sought some medical advice. Then came the heartbreaking news. The doctors informed me about an ovulation issue that made natural conception highly unlikely. I went through treatments, but they didn't yield any positive results. It felt like my dream of becoming a mother was slipping away. I struggled with depression, and throughout it all, Nick stood by my side, assuring me he loved me no matter what and that adoption was a great option. Slowly but surely, I began to accept reality. Although it was pretty darn tough, my mom was the only one who knew about the situation, and she was my comfort person over phone calls. We had not given the news to Nick's family yet. Some days later, Nick's sister Sophie and her husband Paul invited us over to dinner and said that they had an important announcement to make. The whole family gathered, including Nick's parents. After a delicious dinner, Sophie brought out this tray of champagne. Hey everyone, thanks for coming tonight. Well, we promised an announcement, and there is no way to say this, but I'm pregnant.
Wait, what, seriously? Yeah, we're gonna have a baby.
Shut the front door. That's amazing, you two. Congrats.
Dude, you sly dog. Congrats, man. Congratulations, you two.
Rhonda was teary-eyed.
This is something else. I'm gonna be a grandma.
Aww, Grandma Mode is activated. Paul, darling, pass out the glasses. Too bad I can't have some of the champagne.
Mom Mode is activated.
All right, you two. When are we gonna get some baby news from you? My nagging skills are still on point.
Mom, you never quit, do you?
Oh, you guys are killing me, but hey, Nick, just think about it. Your kids and Sophie's little ones growing up together, just like you and Sophie did. It would be so adorable.
Mom, Cecilia and I need to talk to you all about something.
Well, you know how we've been trying for a baby. The truth is, I've been facing some medical issues and, well, I can't get pregnant. The doctors have said it's not possible.
This can't be real. Cecilia, are you sure you've explored all options? I mean, can't you try harder?
Mom, we've been to doctors, tried treatments and everything. It's just not in the cards for us.
Are you telling me this now? After all the talk about babies and grandkids, just let me go on dreaming about being a grandma.
Mom, calm down. They're dealing with a tough situation.
Well, isn't that perfect? Sophie has her life all figured out, popping out babies left and right, while Cecilia can't even give me one grandchild. What a waste of a woman.
Mom, do you hear yourself? Okay, everyone. Let us just celebrate with what we have. It's not no one's fault.
After that crazy scene at Sophie's place, Nick and I hopped back into the car and headed home. Let me tell you, my head was spinning like crazy. First, the whole surprise baby news from Sophie, and then Rhonda dropping those not-so-nice words. I was left feeling like a massive disappointment. Nick was my superhero that night. He held my hand and gave me the whole pep talk, saying Rhonda was probably just blowing off steam and that her words weren't worth losing sleep over. Seriously, he had this amazing way of calming me down when everything seemed like a mess. The next day, I got a call from Sophie. She was all kinds of sorry about her mom's behavior and made sure to let me know that those comments didn't reflect how she really felt. She also offered her condolences for the news I'd shared. Life moved forward, but Rhonda seemed to be stuck on the fact that I couldn't give her grandchildren. It was very obvious every time we met, like at dinner she hosted once.
You know, Cecilia, not all of us can give our loved ones what they want. Some of us just fall short, no matter how hard we try. Nick has always been so good with babies. He wanted 2 of his own, too.
Or at Sophie's birthday party when she found me alone and tried to hurt me with her words.
Some people just have a way of making everyone in the family so happy. Look at my Sophie, glowing like a doll, making Paul so happy. That bump suits her a lot.
Man, dealing with those comments was getting seriously old. I thought to myself, that's family, right? You gotta keep your cool even when you're about to explode. Back then, I was battling my own insecurities, especially after that rough news, so I wasn't exactly in the best place to stand up to Rhonda. So Sophie and Paul decided to throw this gender reveal party. You know, find out if it's a boy or girl. And to be honest, I was kind of dreading it. I could already hear Rhonda's annoying voice in my head. But for Sophie's sake, I decided to suck it up and show up. Nick was all cool about it, saying I did not have to go if I didn't want to. But I felt like I should be there. Nick and I grabbed a wind chime for the baby and this adorable maternity dress for Sophie. They did the cake cutting thing and it was blue inside. A baby boy is on the way. I was happy for Paul and Sophie. We were all sitting at the tables eating when, of course, Rhonda had to give her 2 cents.
Wow, I just can't contain my excitement over a baby boy. You and Paul are giving me the gift of a lifetime.
Mom, we're stoked too.
You should thank Cecilia for not giving you any competition, by the way.
Hey, let's not say that, please.
Don't you dare tell me what to do. You came into our family, and what did you bring? Nothing but disappointment.
I didn't choose to have these issues. I would give anything to change it.
Oh, poor Cecilia. You're always the victim, aren't you? I can't even do the one thing expected of you.
Mom, that's enough. This isn't helping anyone.
Please, Nick, I know you're sad too, so let me speak for the both of us.
Nick loves me for who I am, not just for having kids.
Right, because being a childless wife is just so attractive, isn't it? You've not only let me down, but my son too. He deserves someone who can give him a family.
Mom, come on. That's way out of line. Do you ever think about how hard it is for her? She's been through so much already.
I was surrounded by a bunch of people. I felt so damn humiliated. It was like she knew all the buttons to push. My voice just got stuck. Nick told me we could ditch if I wanted, and honestly, the idea sounded pretty damn good. So I nodded. Back home, let all those bottled up tears loose. Nick just held me, and it was like his arms were the only safe place in the world. Later on, when I was still reeling from Rhonda's nonsense, Sophie called me. She was all understanding, apologizing for her mom's mess. She did not even try to justify it or anything. I felt at ease knowing I wasn't alone in seeing how ridiculous Rhonda was. Rhonda did not bother to say sorry, and honestly, we didn't reach out either. My father-in-law was the only one who actually kept in touch with us, checking up on how we were doing. Rhonda, on the other hand, stayed completely silent. It was like she just did not care. Months passed, and Sophie was closer to her delivery date. She had invited us to her baby shower, which was nice of her, but we ended up skipping it. The thought of dealing with Rhonda's negativity again was just too much to handle. About a month later, we got a call from Paul that Sophie had gone into labor. We didn't waste a second. We dropped everything we were doing and grabbed some blue balloons and a bouquet of flowers on our way to the hospital to celebrate the baby boy. It turned out that we were the first ones to show up. The vibe was a mix of excitement and tension. Sophie was in the delivery room with all the medical stuff happening, and Paul was right there holding her hand. Meanwhile, Nick and I were stuck outside, pacing like crazy. It was taking longer than we expected, and that started to make us worry. Finally, after what felt like a century, they gave us the green light to go in. Nick and I walked into the room, and something was definitely off. Paul looked like he had seen a ghost, and Sophie was in tears. Hey, what's going on? Where's the baby?
Oh God, guys, it's not going as we hoped.
What happened, Soph?
The doctor noticed something weird when the baby popped out. He got this bluish tint in his lips and eyes and even his fingernails, and he's struggling to breathe properly. Oh no, Soph. What did the doctor say?
They don't know yet. It could be some heart thing or a respiratory issue. They're doing tests and keeping an eye on him, but it's not looking good at all. I'm just feeling super scared.
I'm here for you, okay, guys? Thanks, man. I just can't lose I never saw this coming. I thought everything was going to be smooth.
We're family, and we're not backing down, not for you or that little fighter.
Thanks, guys. We have decided to call the little fighter Joe, by the way. Can you do me a favor, Nick?
cute.
Anything.
I need you to talk to Mom, Nick. I want her to hold off on coming here right now. Even Dad. I'm really getting fed up with my mom's behavior.
What do you mean, Soph?
Seriously, Nick. She's been borderline obsessive about this baby. It's like she's more invested than I am. And don't even get me started on how she treated Cecilia. All that garbage about her not being able to give her a baby. She has been holding that over her head instead of being there for her. You remember how she can be, right? I mean, instead of her being understanding, she goes into all blaming mode. I can totally see her doing that when she finds out the baby situation. It's my fault for not eating the right things or whatever. I just can't deal with that right now, you know?
So if you know how crushed Mom would be if she found out you don't want her around.
I know, Nick, but right now, I need to put my emotional well-being first.
If you say so, Soph.
As worried as I was about the baby, I have to admit that there was a strange sense of satisfaction in knowing that Rhonda hadn't been invited to the hospital by her own daughter. We were in the car heading back home, and Nick took out his phone to make a call to Rhonda. I could not hear what she was saying on the other end.
Hey, Mom, where are you? Oh, yeah, no, the baby is here. There are some complications, though. I mean, it's not in my place to tell you. Anyway, do not go all crazy on Sophia because she's already very stressed right now, but she does not want you to be there. I do not know, Mom. Yes, we did visit them. I'm driving, so I'll talk to you later. Please leave Sophie alone for some time.
Not long after, Paul rang us up with some heavy news. The little guy needed surgery. Sophie skipped calling her mom and reached out to us for backup during this time. It wasn't just about dropping off essential stuff. It was about being her safety net and lifting some weight off her shoulders. So one day, I'm taking over some homemade soup for Sophie at the hospital, and guess who's there? Rhonda! Even though Sophie had asked for some breathing room, she showed up anyway.
Oh, hey there, Cecilia.
Hey, Rhonda. Sophie, you invited her? Actually, I did not, but she just showed up. Anyway, she's leaving. Are you, Mom?
No, I'm not leaving.
Mom, seriously?
Yes.
Fine, stay then.
So you are letting this, jealous and useless woman take care of you instead of your own mother? Nice.
Excuse me? That is so unnecessary.
Sophie, it's been a whole week, and you kept me away from my precious grandchild. I bet you were the one who manipulated Sophie.
We've had enough of your crap. Is that how you talk to a human? Let's mention the human who is your daughter-in-law. It's not her fault. And for the record, Cecilia's been more supportive than you have. I needed space from you.
Space? Is that what you call shutting me out? I deserve to be there for Joe and you. I'm his grandmother, after all.
Mom, I get it, but you have got to understand, it's not just about being a grandmother. It's about how you've acted all this time. Especially with Cecilia. I tried to believe that you would get over it, but you just did not stop.
Cecilia? What does she have to do with anything?
It's about how you have treated Cecilia. You've been kind of harsh, especially about her not being able to have kids. It's not cool, Mom, and it hurt her real bad. And honestly, it made me think twice about sharing stuff with you. Like when Joe had some health issues, I thought you'd blame me. You have been so focused on the idea of being a grandma that you have forgotten to be a good mom or a good mother-in-law. I just knew deep down that if I had let you in, Mom, it would not have been the support I needed at the hospital. Nope, it would have been a full-on storm of tantrums. I would keep Joe away from you forever if I could. Now leave. For once, she didn't put up a fight or say anything more. She just stayed quiet, grabbed her purse, and left. As I headed back home, my mind was just chewing on everything that went down. I was raging with anger at Rhonda. Seriously, jealous and useless? Who talks like that? But someone other than Nick had taken a stand for me. Sophie's straightforwardness was well-deserved. And let's be real, Sophie giving her own mom a reality check hurt her the most. Rhonda was clearly hurt by the whole deal. I mean, imagine your own daughter leaning on someone else, especially someone you hate, for support. That's gotta sting. And to top it off, she had not even been allowed to see her own grandchild for a whole week. So in a few days, Joe was out of the hospital and back home, which was a huge relief. Dealing with the whole pregnancy roller coaster has been stressful for all of us. Honestly, looking back, the past year has been one heck of a tough ride. As for me, I was mentally wiped out. I mean, from getting hit with the no pregnancy news to enduring Rhonda's drama for months, I had not had a second for myself. I was at a point where I felt like I needed to regain some control over my life. It seemed like a good idea to hit pause on the idea of bringing a child into our lives, through adoption or whatever, for a while. It was about finding my footing again and taking the time to prioritize my own well-being. And then, out of the blue, one day Rhonda shows up at my house unannounced and I was like, what is this going to be about now? Nick wasn't home at the time.
Hey, Rhonda. Hi, can I come in?
Depends, what are you here for?
To apologize.
Sure, come on in. I let her in.
Yeah, well, I figured it's been a while since we had a chance to talk. Well, I wanted to say that I went over to Sophie's house the other day after my little hospital visit.
Oh, you did?
Yes, to apologize to her for acting like a child. I should have been there to support my daughter, and I do not blame her for not letting me. I haven't been the best person lately. I also want to thank you.
Oh, for what?
For stepping up for my daughter. Even though I compared you to her so many times, you never got jealous of her and said a word against her. You were in a very vulnerable position yourself, yet you still helped her while she and Joe were at the hospital.
Well, I love her like my own sister.
I'm so sorry for calling you all those names. It's just, at this age, people get crazy about grandkids. I called you names and insulted you again and again. I do not know what took over me. I did not realize it until Sophie made me think about how I had been acting. I was so hurt by that, and all this time I've been hurting you. Please forgive me. I'm pretty sure Nick is mad at me too. I hurt the person he loves.
Yes, he is upset.
Well, I will give you guys some space, and I will try to be a better person.
Later that day, when Nick got back home, I filled him in on how his mom dropped by to apologize. Nick seemed relieved that she was taking some steps, mentioning that apology was a start. I agreed with him. It's been a solid 8 months since that apology, and things have definitely shifted. We've set some boundaries with Rhonda, but it's not like we're giving her the cold shoulder anymore. Seeing how Joe brought so much joy into Sophie and Paul's world, we could not help but think about adopting a little one for us. Honestly, after all the past drama, I wasn't sure if I was ready to jump into motherhood, but you know what they say. You will never know if you're ready until you dive in. So here's the good news. Last week, Nick and I adopted this amazing 7-year-old girl named Hope. It was a big moment. Both of my and Nick's parents, Sophie and Paul, along with Joe, were there to welcome Hope on her first day with us. And the instant we talked to her, I felt a connection. It was like some people are destined to be a part of your journey, and the universe had a plan all along. Hope needed us, and honestly, we needed her too. Looking back, I feel like maybe all those twists and turns had a purpose, just to lead us to her. Having Hope around has been a game changer. She's a ray of sunshine in our home, and I can't remember when I felt this content. It's like everything happened for a reason, and right now, I'm in a pretty good place.